everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Happy 1st of November. It's Nat here and I'm really excited that you guys have decided to take up my 30-day challenge. I'm really proud of you. Let's get started and let's try and be as consistent as we possibly can. So I'm going to show you my first pose or my first kind of move, if you like, for the day, which is called the cat-cow pose. You may have done it before. I have been doing this for years and it's usually the way that I will start most of my yoga practices. It's a great way to start your day. It's a great way to get a little bit of energy through your spine. It mobilizes your spine. In yoga, we actually say you're only as young as your spine. So this is going to be a great starting position for you, and it's going to give you a little bit of an indication of how movable or how stiff your spine may be. Whatever it is, it really doesn't matter because obviously it's your spine. All we can do is not compare ourselves to anybody else's, and we just work with what we've got. So no matter where you get to with any of this challenge, I want you to know that it's okay. You don't have to be anything else. Just work with who you are, what you've got, and I guarantee that in the next 30 days you're going to start to feel a wee bit more mobility and flexibility in your body, which is amazing. So cat-cow pose, very simple. I want you to come down onto your mat if you have one, and you're going to come into an all fours position. Now, any time over the next 30 days when your hands touch the floor in any of the yoga poses, I just want you to make sure that your hands are spread as wide as they can possibly go. Don't let your fingers hunch together. Spread them nice and wide and make sure that this middle finger is pointing directly out in front of you. So I'm just going to make sure that you can actually see me. That would be helpful. So our feet are flat to the floor, so if your toes are tucked under, untuck them. Taking your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. Your knees are about hip distance apart, and what I like to do first is just bring my spine into a nice neutral position. So you'll probably notice over the next 30 days that I get a bit of hyper extension in my elbows. So if you're like this and you're like me, always keep a little bit of bend into your arms and keep your belly nicely pulled in. So in cat-cow pose, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving the spine in this kind of shape, just up and down. But what I want you to do when you're tipping the spine downwards is to really relax your tummy. So if you're used to doing a lot of exercises and your core is quite tight, you might need to give it a little bit of a shake out. I always need to kind of help mine to relax, if that makes sense. And we're going to just move with our breath. That's all you're going to get used to doing. So if possible, you're going to be having the lips closed. You're going to be breathing out, in and out through the nose. And I like to do this with my eyes closed, but you guys are obviously copying me right now. So once you get used to doing this a little bit more, you start to tune into the movement of your breath. And eventually what you'll notice is that every single breath is going to initiate your movement. So try and do this on your own over the next 30 days, not waiting for me to say inhale and exhale. You just start to breathe in and you move, and you start to breathe out and you move. So dead easy. So I'm going to do 3 or 4 of these with you. So the fingers are spread nice and wide, feet are relaxed, tummy's relaxed. We're going to move on an exhale. And your exhale is really to squeeze as much air out of your body as you possibly can. So keeping the lips closed, you're going to tuck the chin inwards. And you're going to start to lift the midpoint of your spine as high as it will go. So you can see why it's called cat pose. It's like an angry cat. So I want you to tip the tailbone under, pressing your hips forward and really press down into your mat. Almost as if you were trying to press your hands right down through the floor. Tucking your chin under, your gazing point is your belly button, so you look all the way into the belly, pull the belly right up towards the spine, and when you're ready to inhale, we're just going to allow everything to drop down in the opposite direction. So tummy's nice and relaxed, you're tipping the tailbone high, your lips are closed, and I want you to imagine that you're looking right over the top of your head. So as you can see, my back doesn't bend very much backwards. My back bend's still not very good, even after years of practice in yoga, but it doesn't matter because it still makes me feel better to do this. So your inhale, you're starting to pull the chest forward, your shoulders are nice and open, almost as if you were beaming the chest forwards. Again, lips closed. And then exhale, you do the opposite pose again. So inhale. exhale. Couldn't be any easier. So I'm going to get you guys to just continue with this. See if you can make the breath as long and as even as you possibly can. So what we normally do when we're breathing on a day-to-day basis is we probably use about 1/3 of our lung capacity. Whereas right now, when you're on your mat, I want you to be using every part of your lungs. So breathe into the top part of the lungs, the middle, right into the belly, and then using your exhale to completely squeeze that air out by pulling your belly up, pressing down into the hands, rounding into the spine. So for me, cat-cow pose is just a really good starting point to getting the spine, as I said, nice and mobile. It's going to warm you up for the day. Ideally, you would do this as soon as you get out of bed in the morning. Put your mat beside your bed and just come out, do a little bit of cat-cow pose. It's almost like the Tin Man. I always feel a bit like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz when I get out of bed in the morning, really quite sore and stiff, and this just gets my spine moving, gets my energy moving for the day. It's almost like having a little natural espresso. So go with that, guys. Let me know how you get on. Enjoy your cat-cow pose, and I shall see you for day 2 tomorrow. Bye.